right, if you're running ads on any of Google's platforms, you're going to want to listen up. There's a big change coming. The way you handle your most important data, well, it's about to be completely different. Google is getting rid of a core piece of its ads API and swapping it out for something new. So let's break down what this really means for you.
Look, this isn't just some minor software update. We're talking about a fundamental shift that's going to affect everything, from how you track conversions to how you manage your audience data. So the big question you have to ask yourself is this: is your strategy actually ready for this shakeup? So here's our game plan. First, we're going to unpack what's actually changing. Then we'll look at what you're gaining and, what you're losing. After that, we'll give you a step-by-step playbook for the transition, talk about keeping your data safe, and finally, we'll zoom out and see what this all says about where advertising is headed. Okay, let's dive right in. Section 1, Google's big API shift. We need to understand the what before we can get to anything else. What's going on here?
So the bottom line is pretty simple. The old Ads API, that digital pipeline you've been using for years to send your data into Google Ads, is being shut down. In its place, we're getting the new Data Manager API. You can think of it like Google is tearing down an old winding country road and building a brand new super efficient highway for all your data. So what exactly is this new Data Manager API? Well, it's designed to be a central hub, a single point of entry. Instead of messing with a bunch of different connections for your audience lists, your conversion data, and everything else, this new API is like one main front door for the whole shebang. The goal is to make a really complicated job a whole lot simpler. And this comparison really says it all. On the left, you've got the old way, which honestly was kind of a messy web of different API connections for different jobs. And on the right, you see the new way, one clean, unified pipeline. It's all about cutting down on that complexity and reducing the number of places where things can go wrong. Okay, so we get the what, but now it's time for the really important part, the so what. I mean, what does this actually change for your day-to-day work and your campaign results? Let's get into the gains and losses. Now, no change is perfect, so let's be real about what you're giving up. First off, IP address data is gone. That's going to make super specific geographic targeting a bit tougher. Second, some of those granular session attributes are going away. This means some of that hit-level data, analyzing every single click a person makes in one visit, is going to be harder to get, which makes mapping out that micro-journey a little trickier. But here's the good news, the gains are pretty massive. The big headliner is enhanced conversions. This is a game changer for connecting an online ad click to something that happens offline, like a sale in your store. And even though some session data is gone, you're getting much better session-level attribution, which lets you see the whole sequence of touchpoints that led to a sale. You combine that with way better bidding signals, and you've got the foundation for some seriously smart campaign automation. Which brings us to the part you're probably here for. How do you actually get through this change? Section 3 is your transition playbook, your guide to mastering the now what. I know this can feel overwhelming, but if you break it down into these 4 steps, it becomes totally manageable. First, you have to review. You need to do a full audit of every single app you're using and figure out how its job maps to the new API. Second, train up. Google's putting out a ton of guides and webinars. Use them. The third step is maybe the most important. Test. Set up a sandbox, a safe space to try everything out with the new API before it ever touches your live campaigns. And finally, use your support lines. This is a huge change, and Google's teams are there to help you through it. Now, as you're going through all those steps, there's one thing that has to be top of mind the entire time. It's so important it gets its own section. Let's talk about keeping your data safe. One of our sources for this explainer just nailed it with this quote. Ensuring data integrity becomes critically important. Anytime you're moving data from an old system to a new one, you run the risk of messing it up or losing it. So how do you protect it? Well, here are 3 things you should absolutely be doing. First, a deep audit. Map out every single way data flows in your current setup. You can't protect what you don't know exists. Second, create validation protocols. Think of these as automatic checkpoints that compare the data in the old system to the new one and scream at you if anything doesn't match up. And finally, training. Your team needs to know the new tools, sure, but they also need to know the new rules for handling data safely. Okay, let's zoom out for a second. Let's step away from the nitty-gritty of the transition and look at the bigger picture. Where does this change fit into the future of advertising as a whole? This API change isn't just happening in a bubble. It's a direct answer to the biggest trend in our industry, privacy. By centralizing how data is managed, Google is giving you clearer control over consumer information. which is absolutely essential in this new world of privacy regulations. It's also about getting ready for a much smarter future. You hear all this talk about AI and machine learning, right? Well, those models are hungry, and they need clean, structured data to work their magic. This new API is basically designed to be the perfect food source for them, paving the way for predictive analytics that can optimize your campaigns on the fly. And finally, this is all about connection. By building this one central API hub, Google is making it so much easier to plug your ad data into everything else, your CRM, your analytics tools, you name it. This is how you finally get that complete, holistic view of your marketing and connect all the dots across every channel. So as we wrap this up, the big takeaway is this: it's not just a technical headache. It's a strategic opportunity. The whole advertising world is changing. It's getting more private, more intelligent, and more connected. So the question I want to leave you with is this: how are you going to use these changes to build a smarter, more powerful advertising strategy for what's coming next?